Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for checking in. This is video number 15 in the Vlog Every Day in August challenge. So, 2 videos ago, I think in video 13, I talked about hiring service professionals who specialize in particular tasks such as accounting, law, bookkeeping, graphic design, things of that nature. And I shared a couple of examples that went very well. People that I ended up meeting that I've had relationships with for years now. However, it doesn't always work out that well. Sometimes it's a disaster. And I want to share with you one particular horror story. Now, I happen to have an affinity for accounting. Wouldn't consider myself an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I enjoy it. I enjoy financial statements. I enjoy kind of poring over these numbers and seeing how they work, tweaking variables and seeing how the numbers change. I get a kick out of that stuff. So naturally, in our first year, I did the bookkeeping because I'm actually I'm actually pretty okay with respect to bookkeeping. So I did the bookkeeping. Now, I subscribe to the idea that I don't want to work in my business. I want to work on my business. However, couldn't afford to hire a bookkeeper, so I did it. Now, it became a burden. I started getting backed up because I was too busy doing other things. First, it'd be a couple weeks, then a couple months, and then I'm like 6 months behind. And it was always just rushing to try to catch up, and it was just annoying. So at some point we knew that, all right, we're gonna have to bring in a bookkeeper, and that's exactly what we did. Now, when you're hiring a bookkeeper, you want to make sure that, one, the person is competent and they know what they're doing, like they can actually do the job. Now, that seems like a given, but like any particular job, just because you are a bookkeeper or whatever professional you are doesn't necessarily mean you're good at your job. So you want to make sure these people are actually competent. You want to make sure that they can work in the industry that you're in, because some people might be accustomed to working, especially in bookkeeping, might be accustomed to working in one particular industry. But then if you move into another area or another industry, there are nuanced changes that you need to be aware of, or else you might not be able to do a good job in that particular industry. You want to make sure that they're certified. While there are no professional licenses for bookkeeping, there are professional organizations that certify people in the areas of bookkeeping. So that leads to the competence, right? Also, you want to make sure these people are personable, because you may need them to work with vendors and things of that nature. You want to make sure that they are trustworthy and can be held accountable. And are reliable. These people are dealing with some of their most private affairs. They have access to your bank accounts. They have access to customer information. They have access to vendor information. You definitely want to make sure that there's someone who can be reliable and be held to a high degree of integrity. Now, I thought I found somebody like that. However, where I went wrong was this. I gave them horrible directions. I was so relieved to get this thing off my back. Like, I don't have to do this anymore. I was so happy about that. I was just like, here, take the file. Just when you go into the bank account, just look at those transactions and put them in the corresponding accounts that I had already created. And I thought that was simple enough. But it really wasn't. And looking back at it, I know that was highly stupid of me. But again, I was so relieved to get rid of it. So to make a long story short, fast forward to the next year around tax time, open up the file. Now, I was taking glances at it, and on the surface, it looked okay, but I should have done a much, much deeper analysis because it was horrible. The bookkeeping was not done properly. Things were put in incorrect places. And it wasn't one of those things where you could just like, all right, hit a couple keys and it's fixed. No, I ended up having to do the whole thing over again. So we paid a bookkeeper for the entire year, roughly around $2,500, and everything was done incorrectly. I had to do the whole thing all over again, and I had to do 12 months worth of transactions, and you're talking about over 200 transactions a month, excuse me, and over the course of 12 months, you're just talking about over 2,500 transactions, plus go back through all the receipts. It was horrible. But I had to do all of that in a matter of 2 weeks to be prepared to file taxes on time. And so that ended up being a lesson for me, a lesson on how to actually go out and hire people. And just because something is a burden for you doesn't mean you just throw it on somebody else's lap without giving them the proper instructions to deal with it. In addition to that, upon giving proper instructions, making sure that they were capable of doing what I needed them to do, I should have been following up. I should have been following up regularly to make sure it was being done right. I didn't do that, and I suffered for it. And I deserved it too. So please make sure you don't do that in your business. When you hire people, understand what it is that you're hiring them for, make sure that they can do it, and then follow up after you give somebody direction. Now, that goes for anyone on your staff as well as outside individuals that you're hiring. Hopefully this will help you out. My name is JR. This is how I do business. And please share this with anyone who you think will find it beneficial. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.